Good morning, students. In our last video, we have started with the third chapter, that is Plant Kingdom, in which you have learned about division algae. Now, today we will start with the next division, that is Bryophyta or Bryophytes. Bryophytes include the various mosses and liverworts. These are non-vascular embryophytes. Non-vascular means they do not have xylem and phloem, and embryophytes means the complex multicellular eukaryotes with specialized reproductive organs. Okay, so they are non-vascular embryophytes and are characterized by the presence of an independent gametophyte and parasitic sporophyte. Okay, the gametophyte, the phase of the life cycle in which it produces the haploid gametes, that is independent, and sporophyte, which is the another phase of the life cycle in which it produces the spores. So that sporophyte phase is parasitic. Clear? Now, bryophytes, they commonly grow in the moist, shady areas in hills, and these are called the amphibians of plant kingdom because they can live in soil, but they are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. Clear? So they are called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Now let us study about the characteristic features of the bryophytes. Number one is they live in damp and shady habitats found to grow during the rainy season on damp soil, rocks, walls, etc. Then the plant body of the bryophytes is more differentiated than that of the algae. It is thallus-like and it remains attached to the substratum by the unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. They do not have the roots, but they have the multicellular organs, unicellular or multicellular organs called the rhizoids, through which they remain attached to the substratum. Then, as I said, the dominant phase or the plant body is free living gametophyte, means it is independent gametophyte. Okay, then vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation, means the plant body, the thallus divides into two or more fragments, and then each fragment produces the new plant body by the tubers. Tubers are the swollen parts, as you have already studied in 10th class. By gammae. Gammae or gamma are small cellular body or bud that can separate to form a new organism. Gammae are green, multicellular, and asexual buds. Okay, green because they have the chlorophyll pigment. Multicellular, so they are made up of many cells, and they are asexual buds which develops on the receptacles, which are called the gamma cups. Okay, and these gamma cups in turn are located on the thalli. Okay, so they reproduces by fragmentation, by formation of tubers, by gammae or by buds, right? And sexual reproduction occurs by the formation of the sex organs. The sex organs are multicellular, made up of many cells, and are jacketed. Jacketed means they are covered by the sterile cells. Okay. The Anthradium and Archaegonium are the sex organs. Anthradium which produces the biflagellated anthrazoids. Biflagellated means it has two flagella. So Anthradium is the male sex organ. It produces the biflagellated anthrazoids, and Archaegonium is flask-shaped female sex organ which produces the single egg or oospore. I hope this much is clear, right? Now this sex organs which produces the gametes, okay, in turn the gametes fuses with each other, that is fertilization takes place, and fertilization occurs in the female sex organ called Archaegonium. The egg secretes a chemical which attracts spermatozoids or the anthrazoids. The anthrazoids require a thin film of water for swimming and reaching the dehisced Archaegonium. Then one anthrazoid fuses with an egg and produces a diploid zygote. Zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. Instead, it produces a multicellular body which is called the sporophyte. So the sporophyte is not free living. It is parasitic, right? It is not free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte. So you can say that the sporophyte is parasite on gametophyte, right? Why? Because it remains attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and it derives nourishment from the gametophyte. Okay. Then some cells of the sporophyte undergo reduction division, that is meiosis, and produces the haploid spores, and the haploid spores in turn germinate and produces the gametophyte. Clear? Now the bryophyte is further classified into two main groups, that is, number one is Hepaticopsida, commonly called the liverworts, and Bryopsida, commonly called mosses. Hepaticopsida are commonly called liverworts. Liverworts usually grow in moist, shady places such as banks of streams, marshy ground, damp soil, bark of trees, and deep in the woods. The plant body of a liverwort is thalloid. The thallus is dorsiventral flattened. Dorsiventral flattened, that is having dissimilar dorsal and ventral surfaces, and they are flat. Dichotomously branched means in main axis, the main axis is divided into two branches with or without leaf-like appendages. Okay, then unicellular rhizoids, multicellular scales, and completely parasitic sporophyte or sporangium is present. Okay, the sporophyte of bryophytes is called the sporangium because it is mainly dependent on and meant for producing the spores. Okay, then asexual reproduction takes place by fragmentation, thallus or fragmentation thallus or formation of specialized structures which are called gamete. Right, it occurs by fragmentation of the thallus or thalli. Means the thallus breaks into two or more fragments, and then each thallus produces the new plant body. Okay, or it may occur by the formation of specialized structure called gamete. I have already told you gamma are the green multicellular asexual buds which develops in small receptacles. Receptacles are the structures which receives something, right? So that receptacles are called gamma cup, and in the gamma cup the gammae are produced. The gammae becomes detached from the parent body and later germinate to produce new individuals. Then sexual reproduction is also observed. It is accomplished by the formation of male and female sex organs, either on the same or on different thalli. The sporophyte develops from zygote, which continues to grow on the gametophyte, and the gametophyte, the sporophyte is further divided, or it is differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. Okay, there are different examples, okay, like Rixia, Markensia. So Markensia, this is male thallus and this is the female thallus. Sorry, this will be female, actually wrongly labeled. This is female, where Archaegoniophore is present, that is female thallus, and Anthradiophoore, it is the male thallus. Okay, here it is wrongly labeled, so make the correction, don't get confused in this. Now moving to the next category or next group, that is mosses. Bryophyta, they are commonly called mosses. They grow in the dense mats over moist shady places, especially during the rainy seasons. The predominant stage of life cycle of a moss is the gametophyte. It is gametophyte, which consists of two stages. The first stage is the protonema stage, which develops directly from a spore. It is creeping, green, branched and frequently filamentous stage. The second stage is the leafy stage, which develops from the secondary protonema as a lateral bud. They consist of upright, slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves. And this stage bears the sex cells. Vegetative reproduction occurs by fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema. Okay. From the exposed rhizoids and other parts like gammae, buds and tubers of the plant body. And a sex organ develops on the leafy shoot. Okay, sex organs called Anthridia, male, and Archaegonia, which is female, are produced on the apex of the leafy surface, and male organs appear cup-shaped while female organs are bird-like. And after fertilization, zygote develops into a sporophyte, which consists of foot, setae and the capsules. Common examples are Funaria, Polytrichum sphagnum. Here you can see foot, setae and capsule is produced. This is setae, capsule, and the lower part is the foot. Okay. This is the gametophyte and this is the sporophyte plant. Now moving to the next category of kingdom Plantae, that is Pteridophyta. Pteridophytes are primitive seedless vascular plants, which are also called cryptogams. Vascular plants means they have xylem and phloem, and seedless means they do not produce the seeds. So they are the seedless vascular plants that have sporophytic plant body, which is conspicuous. Conspicuous means they are clearly visible. Okay, so plant body have conspicuous sporophytic plant or sporophyte, and inconspicuous means not clearly visible independent gametophyte. The sporophyte plant body is differentiated into true root, stem and leaves, and this organs possess well differentiated vascular tissues. Vascular tissues are present, that is xylem and phloem are present throughout their body, but xylem consists of tracheids, that is vessels are absent from xylem, and phloem is made up of sieve cells and albuminous cells, that is companion cells and sieve tubes are absent in phloem of pteridophytes. The sporophytes bear sporangia that are subtended by leaf-like appendages which are called sporophylls, and in some cases sporophylls may form distinct compact structure which are called strobili or cones like in Selaginella, equisetum. The sporangia produce spores by the meiosis in spore mother cells, and the spores germinate to give rise to inconspicuous. Inconspicuous means not clearly visible. So spores will germinate and will give rise to inconspicuous, small but multicellular, free-living, mostly photosynthetic thalloid gametophytes called the prothallus. In majority of the pteridophytes, all the spores are of similar kind. Such plants are called Homosporus. In genera like Selaginella and Salvinia, two kinds of spores are produced, that is macro, which is large, and micro, that is small spores. Thus are called the heterosporous. Now, gametophyte bears the male and female sex organ. Male sex organ called Anthradia and female sex organ called Archaegonia. Anthridium is sessile and it is surrounded by the single layered jacket, whereas Archaegonia is flask shaped and it is partially embedded. Fertilization requires water. Okay, that is, water is required for the transfer of anthrazoids, that are male gametes, and these are released from the Anthradia and reach to the mouth of the Archaegonium through a film of water only. Fusion of the male gamete with the egg present in the Archaegonium results in the formation of zygote. Zygote develops into multicellular, well-differentiated sporophyte which is diploid, and it is the dominant phase of the pteridophytes. So children, that is all for today. With this, we have completed the two divisions of kingdom Plantae, that is Bryophytes and Pteridophytes. In our next video, we will be learning about gymnosperms. I hope this is clear to everyone. Thank you.